It's a question that has haunted history, and one man embodied this mystery more than most. Lucius Annaeus Seneca. A name you've probably heard in some ancient quote about self-control, death, or time. But behind the wise words was a man, made of flesh, nerves, pride, and regret. A man who walked among emperors. A man who tried to guide a monster, and failed. Let's set the stage. Imagine ancient Rome, in all its violent glory. Marble palaces glowing in the sun. Senators in togas, whispering schemes behind pillars. Gladiators preparing to die for sport. And in the center of this chaos, one calm voice. Seneca wasn't born into power. He earned it. A sharp thinker, a brilliant speaker, and above all, a philosopher of control. He believed we don't own anything in this world, not our wealth, not even our lives. All we own is how we react. And people listened. Crowds followed him. Rich men begged for his advice. Even the empress herself trusted him. And then came the moment that changed everything. Rome needed a tutor for the young heir to the throne, a boy named Nero. Seneca accepted the job. Why? Maybe he believed he could shape the future of Rome. Maybe he thought he could guide power with reason. Or maybe, he was just tired of watching the world burn without trying to stop it. He didn't know that by accepting, he was signing his own death sentence. But that comes later. Right now, all he saw was a child. Confused. Impulsive. But still human. Still reachable. Still redeemable. Seneca believed he could save the boy. He didn't know that the boy would one day become his executioner. The first months were promising. Under Seneca's guidance, young Nero studied literature, music, even philosophy. He gave well-prepared speeches. He listened more than he spoke. People began to hope, maybe this boy could be different. But power is a strange drug. And Nero started to enjoy the taste. At first, it was small things. He wanted more gold in his rooms. He mocked senators during private dinners. He staged private performances and forced nobles to applaud. Seneca warned him, gently at first. Real strength, he said, is shown in restraint. But Nero didn't want restraint. He wanted control. Over everything. And soon, the whispers started. One man, a general, disappeared without a word. Another, a senator, fell from his horse, conveniently, after disagreeing with Nero. Seneca tried to intervene, but every warning was now met with a smile and silence. The boy was slipping. And Seneca knew it. He wrote letters, essays, speeches, hoping words could still save him. But Nero wasn't reading philosophy anymore. He was too busy building golden palaces, and burning anything he didn't like. Seneca's greatest fear was becoming true. He had taught a tyrant how to speak with grace, how to win the crowd, how to wear the mask of wisdom. But underneath, there was only hunger. And Seneca? He was starting to see, he wasn't the mentor anymore. He was the prisoner. Rome was changing. Not in laws. Not in armies, but in something harder to fix, in its soul. Nero now ruled like a god. He performed in theaters, racing chariots while nobles were forced to cheer. He wore costumes of heroes, while behaving like a villain. Those who questioned him disappeared. Those who flattered him were rewarded. And Seneca? He stayed silent. He withdrew from politics. Stopped writing public letters. Stopped attending court. People whispered, why doesn't he stop Nero? But Seneca had learned, you cannot stop a man who sees himself as divine. You can only choose how to live under his shadow. So Seneca chose his own exile, inside his own villa. There, in silence, he wrote his final works. Essays on death. On self-control. On the briefness of life. He was no longer writing for Nero. He was writing for the world that would come after. For us. He knew the end was near. Nero's paranoia grew. He feared everyone. Even Seneca. One night, a messenger came. A polite command from the emperor, Seneca must take his own life. No trial. No crime. Just silence, enforced by blood. Seneca bowed his head. Not in fear. In acceptance. A philosopher's final test had arrived. Seneca received the order with the same calm he had taught others. He didn't cry. He didn't beg. He didn't curse Nero's name. He simply stood, embraced his wife, and whispered something only she heard. Then he turned to his friends, students, really, who had gathered around him. Let us not waste this lesson, he said. Watch carefully. For this is how a Stoic dies. He opened his veins, a common Roman method. But his age and diet had slowed his blood. Death came slowly, painfully. He never screamed. Instead, he spoke. About how death is not evil, about how fear is often worse than the thing itself, about how philosophy, real philosophy, prepares us for this moment. His wife tried to join him in death, but soldiers stopped her. Nero had only asked for Seneca. Lying on a bench, pale and trembling, Seneca dictated calm words, until his voice faded. Then silence. But not despair, a silence filled with meaning, like the final note of a perfect song. After Seneca's death, the empire didn't pause. Nero kept ruling, for a while. But fear ruled him more than he ruled Rome. Soon, rebellions rose. Allies turned up. And just 4 years later, Nero himself died, alone, hunted, and hated. But Seneca, he never really disappeared. His words survived, copied, shared, whispered by slaves, quoted by generals, read by emperors, monks, revolutionaries, writers. Centuries passed, empires crumbled, but Seneca's voice kept echoing through time. In dusty libraries, in the hearts of the broken, on the battlefield, in prison cells. His message was simple: you cannot control the world, but you can control yourself. And that is enough. Cut to modern times. Someone, maybe a teenager, maybe a soldier, maybe a man ready to give up, finds a quote from Seneca. You suffer more in imagination than in reality. And something shifts, just a little, but enough to keep going. Seneca is long gone, but his courage, his calm, his stoic fire, it still burns. In me, in you, in everyone who dares to face the storm with stillness.